welcome to another pattern hack. This one is some little shorts that I saw on Pinterest. It's the little paper bag style that I made some trousers once, but this time I'm going to make it into some play shorts. It's pretty and it's fashionable. My designing thoughts went through a couple of different steps in the process. First off, I tried making the shorts with a bias piece sewn on for the casing. But normally I would put 1/2 inch elastic in the bias casing, but I only want to use 1/4 inch elastic. So, I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but I just wasn't happy with how it gathered. This elastic wasn't quite strong enough to handle the extra layers that when you turn the bias facing edges under. So that was one I tried and didn't like. The next one, I just decided to do the casing as a fold over casing, which means I had to measure, make the casing bigger so that I got the paper bag effect that I wanted. So this one has a ribbon as a belt, and the casing is just a folded casing that is folded at the top here and stitched in 2 places to make my 1/4 inch elastic casing. And I've added some belt loops and the little belt. So these are my latest adventure. I changed the leg a little bit on this one. It's not exactly the same as the 1813 play shorts, but I'll show you how to do that as well. The other shorts that I made have a different option for the ribbon. The blue ones, the ribbon is long, and if you don't, you've got to stitch it at the back to hold it in place. Otherwise it can be a strangle hazard, and you have to untie and tie up the bow all the time because it needs to stretch over her hips. So this one I made with just a little bit of ribbon in the front, and I put in 1 belt loop just to cover the ends where I sewed the ribbon in, so they don't look that much different. Okay, so it's just that this one is made with shorter pieces of ribbon, and they're actually sewn on, and you can leave the bow tied up because this will just stretch over her hips. So I made the first one with the belt because that's how it looked in the Pinterest design, and I thought, well, it's probably not perfect for dolls, so that's when I created this one as well. What else? Oh, the leg hems. So the leg hems, normally I would do leg hems with a 1/4 inch turn up and overlocked and whatever, but this one I decided to try just a little narrow double fold hem, and that worked really well. It was really easy to do. So that's just a little change I made on these shorts to what I would usually do. And these shorts are actually curved. The hem is curved, so it's actually a little bit lower in the middle than it is in the crotch seam. So it has a very gentle curve on it, and that gives them, you wouldn't think so, but it just gives it a nice straight line look for the hem of the shorts. So let's get into the pattern hack now, and I'll show you how I did the waistband and the slightly curved hem. So to do the pattern hack, you need to take a boxer shorts pattern that fits your doll. So this one is my 1813 snug fit pull-ons, and this is the boxer shorts back and front, and when we're finished they end up stuck together like this. So the first thing we're going to do, without cutting the whole thing out, we're just going to cut where they join, and then we're going to join them together. So that way we can do right across the waist and the hem as one piece. So I'm just going to line these up and sticky tape them together. There we go. Okay. So boxer shorts usually have an elastic casing that you fold over. So this is the casing fold line on these boxer shorts. So if you're using my pattern, all you have to do is draw a new cutting line at the top, a ½ inch above the old cutting line. So this is a pretty quick and easy pattern hack. So I'm going to draw a new cutting line ½ inch above the old one. So that's that there. And then we're going to draw a new casing fold line ½ inch above the old fold line. So here's my original fold line, and I want ½ inch above it for the new fold line. So I'm going to do it with long dashes because that's how I identify fold lines. Okay. So that's all we need to do for the new pattern lines for the casing. So I'm just going to cut across the top to get that sorted straight away. So what we've done here is we have a ½ inch allowance now allowed at the top here to turn over to neaten the raw edge. So I'm just going to put in that as a seam line, which is little dashes for me. And I usually do my seam lines in red on these hacks. Okay, so that's the piece we fold over, and then we fold the main casing fold line. And we're going to have a ½ inch paper bag effect above the fold line. And this will give you enough room to make a 3/8 inch wide casing to fit ½ inch elastic. And this makes the elastic end up at the same level as it would if you were using the regular pattern and the ½ inch elastic. So if you're using any pattern other than my pattern, you can do similar measurements. So you have to find the original casing line on your pattern, whichever pattern it is, and you're going to measure up a ½ inch above your casing fold line for the new casing fold line, and you're going to measure up 1 5/8 inches from your original casing fold line. I've got to go up to here to get the new cutting line. So whichever pattern you're using, if it's not mine, you go up a ½ inch from the casing fold line to get the new fold line, and you go up 1 5/8 inches from the old casing line to get your new cutting line. Now I can't guarantee that that's going to work perfectly on any other pattern but mine, but it'll give you a good place to start. Now I also changed the hem line for the play shorts on this one, and the inseam. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw new lines for the inseam that are going to be just perpendicular. So you put them on each side. We only want them 1/4 inch away, so this one will go here, like this. Okay, so that gives us the new inseam seam lines and cutting lines. I should have done these in red, just so we don't get mixed up which line's which. Okay, so now for the rest of the hemline, I'm going to curve it just slightly. So now let's do the slightly curved hem. You notice I don't have any of the changes I made up here because I had to do a retake for the hem, so I'm just finishing off the hem in this one. What we need to do is we're going to start at our edge point here, and we're going to curve our hem up to the center to make it 1/4 inch shorter. So we start right at the edge of our cutting line, and we're going to make a slight curve up 1/4 inch from the original hemline. So it's just a very shallow curve. You can just sketch it. It doesn't have to be exact. Okay, and the hemline is going to be 1/4 inch above that. So I'm going to cut off the hem to start with, and then I'm going to draw in my new hem allowance. Okay, so the new hem allowance will be 1/4 inch up. I'm not measuring because I just use this as a guide, and my 1/4 inch is measured when I use my machine foot and when I sew. And I guess exactness is not all that important here. When I turn my narrow hem, I'm going to turn it up what I think is about half of, the 1/4 inch allowance, and then I'll turn it up again. So it might end up a fraction shorter than the actual hem allowance, but it's still going to work. So if you already have the 1813 pattern, I'll be adding just the play shorts length with the new leg design and the ordinary casing, not the paper bag casing, inside the newsletter tutorials and patterns folder. So people who have the 1813 pattern will be able to update it with the new leg for the play shorts. You'll also find this pattern hack already done for you and neatly labelled along with a pattern envelope in Etsy. It'll be called something like 1813 Pattern Hack Paper Bag Play Shorts. Pattern hacks are different from my regular pattern files. I won't be including any instructions in any of the pattern hack files that you find on Etsy. The title page of the file will have a link to the sewing instructions that will be on my blog. So the point of adding them to my shop is to offer ready hacked pattern pieces. So if you don't have any inclination to draw up the hack following the YouTube tutorial, you can just buy it ready done. Now these shorts really only have one pattern piece, That's that. So if you want to buy the hacked pattern, it works all on its own. So you don't need to buy the full 1813 pattern. If all you want to do is make the paper bag shorts. So it's only got one pattern piece. So the blog has full instructions for completing the whole lot of the shorts. So if you just want these shorts, you'll find the pattern hack in the Etsy shop, and you don't have to buy the full pattern if you're not interested in doing your own hacks.